Good morning, everybody. Well, it's morning here in sunny Tennessee. This is Gail, Shabby Cottage Studio. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. I want to give you a warm, big hug. And if you're new here to the channel and you're just investigating, I hope you like what you see and stick around. And I'm going to give you a big, warm hug too, because that's how we roll in my family. Anyway, I'm here today to share a Sam Poole design team project. This is an Amity Bloom inspired no-sew journal. I think you've probably seen, if you've been around YouTube or Instagram, you've seen several of these going around. And I have used, for the most part in this journal, Sam's Graceful Birds 1 and 2, her Lilac Dreams. Both of those are her most, well, not her most, those are recent kits, and also her Lilac Chateau, which is a little bit older of a kit. And those were the main images that I was inspired by to use in this journal. But I also used bits and pieces from some other kits. There is her number 4 pattern papers, which again is one of her more recent kits, and they are they're lovely, and each number is like a different colorway, and the number 4 was kind of purples lilacs. And then I also used, and sometimes it might just be one image, but I used a French Bureau and French Cottage, Lazy Days, Romance, which is one of her more recent, the Neutral Edit, which is one of her more recent, and then I used, I think, like a label from her Garden Memories, and maybe a label from Graphics Fairy. So bits and pieces from other places, but the main ones were the first 3 that I told you, and they'll be listed in the description box below. If you've been around here at any time, you may have heard me say that I have got a thing for swans. I absolutely love swans. It's an age-old love, and I'm so happy that Sam put some swans in her Graceful Birds kit. So that's what I've used on the cover. This is a larger image, and I have fussy cut around it. The oval is inside the larger image, and so are the flowers. So I just fussy cut around the oval picture of the swans and the flowers. I added another little piece of cardstock underneath it, and then underneath all of that, I used some of that dimensional sticky tape to bring it up a little bit off the background to separate it from the background. And I really love how that turned out. Also, this journal is spoken for at this point, so if it becomes not spoken for, I'll probably list it in my Etsy store. Also, just to let you know, the last journal that I created for the Inspiration 2026 April, that I don't think I mentioned in that video that it is for sale, and it is also listed in my Etsy store. Anyway, I digress. I did dye some different laces and some scrim in the greens and the lilac tones of this journal. So usually if you see something in that color, that was something that I hand dyed, and I did it very simply. I took acrylic paint, I mixed it to the shade of color that I wanted, mixed it with a lot of water, dipped the items in that, and then pulled them out and either let them air dry or I may have ironed them, depending on what it was. So that's what you see here in this little bow. I put a little grommet and pulled the bow through. I did not add a closure to this journal because I like the way it fits in my hands, and I don't really think it's needed. Somebody could add one if they wanted. And of course, you know, I overstuff things, so if you take out tags and journal cards, this thing lays pretty flat. Let me just give you an overview. It's my usual stuffed style. And then I just have some lacy kind of trim on the spine. This is the image in the back. Just a little bit of purple ribbon, some ruffly lace that I also dyed. It looks pink in the camera, I think, but if you if you look at it up close, there are purple tones in it. So I think it's just the way it's being seen on camera. Back on the front, I also added some of that ruffly, lacy, it's not lace actually, it's netting, and it's been cut kind of into strips. It's all sewn together, so it gives it a ruffle look. And I love how that turned out. So I've used that for the whole triangular shape. When you open the front cover, I wanted to show you this. I think this is really sweet the way this turned out. I was trying to figure out how to attach this bow without really disturbing the netting. If I pulled it through and brought it around and tied it, it was disturbing the netting, and I didn't much care for that. So what I did is I went through my button boxes, and I found this cute little vintage button with a little faux rhinestone in the middle. It's probably a piece of glass. And it's got, I don't know if you can see it, if I can turn it upside down without dropping everything. It's got a little shank on it. It is plastic, and the shank was small enough that part of it, not all of it, but part of it actually kind of slipped into the hole of the grommet. So what I did was I took the ribbon and I threaded it through the shank, tied it, I believe, in a knot, and then slipped it into the grommet hole, and then tied it into a bow on this side. And so I just really like the way it looks on this side with the little button. Here I've used a paint chip sample and did some texture stenciling on it. And inside of that I tucked a little book, a little writing journal, I guess you would call it. Just stained paper, blank stained papers inside. Sweet little bird. So I tucked that in there, like so. And then I just did a little journaling card from the kit and tucked that inside. Also, just to mention, I try to mention this in my journals, my tags and my journal cards usually always have writing space on the back. And if you see me keep looking at the backs of them, sometimes I do add a little something on the back, so I always just look when I'm videoing to see if it's blank or if I added something. I also added some of the Amity Bloom washi tape. So this side pocket, what I did was, this background is from one of Sam's kits. I can't remember. Guys, you know, you work with so many kits, and I have such a bad memory these days, but I do my best. So what I did was I fussy cut around, this image is in the kit, one of the kits, and I fussy cut around that, glued it to the pocket, and added a little faux tape, and then added this little image on the bottom and made a little side tuck out of it. Now this comes out easily, I just can't seem to grab it today. Okay, isn't that cute? I love that little, just a little space for some notes, and it kind of acts like a tab there. It would go in further, but I like it sticking out. Before I glued this down, I did attach this, it's a netting. To me it looks like a dotted Swiss on a netting, so you'll see I've used that quite frequently throughout the book. In fact, here at the bottom, I did let it hang off, and I just liked the look of that against the purple lace underneath it. Inside, I tucked a journaling card or tag, put a little tab at the top, a little French text, slip that inside, and then more swans. On this is in one of the kits. I think this is Lilac Dreams. Anyway, I made a little journaling spot with that, and so I tucked that in the pocket also. Then when you turn this page, I was having fun with lace. Let me take this out to show you. In fact, let me just take those both so I don't drop anything. This lace here is all one piece. So I'm not sure what it was part of, because this is like just a scrap that I had, and but it is one piece. You can even see here the maybe the seam where it was sewn. So I don't know if it was some kind of table covering or clothing. I don't remember. But instead of cutting it apart, I left it. And what I liked about that is it comes down. It's not even across the bottom, and I just liked that look. And I like that you can see this behind it and a little bit of this netting lace, whatever. Oh my gosh, it's one of those days. And I used some more of that ruffly netting that's on the front. Here I just did like a little scrunch up of the fabric and added a little floral trim. Up here I had folded the lace over. I'd cut it and folded it over a little bit to make a nice edge, but I still felt like it was a little fragile. Excuse me, I'm starting to lose my voice. And so I put a piece of thick paper or light cardstock behind it just to firm it up. And then I also put a layer of, you can see it, vintage lace on top of it. Let's see. And then I just did a couple of journaling cards to go inside that pocket. And then over here, I had some of the scrim that was dyed in a green, and some more of that, I'm just going to call it dotted Swiss, some more of that dotted Swiss netting. This is a vintage paper I stamped with one of Sam's stamps, and I added a rhinestone chain, and I did like, I just liked the unevenness of that edge, so I left it. And then I created this journaling card. There is some embossing at the top. And I added one of my little rhinestone clips that I've been having fun making. On both, there's one on each side. And I just kind of wanted it to sit above the journal, so I just tucked it in there. Let's see, when you turn the page, I have another side type pocket here, and have a journaling card tucked in there. Again, some embossing, and then one of Sam's images. I did cut out, fussy cut this from one of her images, and this is just a little piece of vintage doily I had, a little scrap. And I've got this background. It's antique, and I believe it's like from a German almanac, and a little bit of washi tape. And tuck those, and tuck that right in there. I made a little belly band and a little tag, and I liked offsetting the ribbon. I like to do that every now and then. Collaged the tag with the images and some more of the lace and some scrim, and then this was a piece of muslin I had printed on many, many years ago, and I found it in my stash. So I added that, I thought it was appropriate, and then I just tucked that down in the belly band. This is some antique French book page. Over here, surprise, we have more swans. And I thought that this background was appropriate with the beautiful swans, and added one of Sam's labels and some more of that dotted Swiss netting. And there is a little bit of the vintage lace at the bottom. Washi tape. I did create this little journaling card. Just did this image. Okay, I had to see if I collaged it. Sometimes it's hard to tell. This is just kind of digitally collaged, and then I added it to this background. On the back, I've got a pocket, and then I just tucked this little envelope. I do believe that's in the kit. But I did back it with some antique French book page and added the doily around the edge. This is the image on the back, so you can see. I think that was really cute. And tuck that right into this pocket. and then tuck that into the bigger pocket. I did add some trim on this edge. This is not vintage. It's fairly new, I think. So on this side, this policy envelope is in the kit. I've added a little bit of lace here and a label. And I did fussy cut one of the eggs to use as the closure for the flap. I did tuck a tag inside. Plank on the back. And just tuck that in there. On this side is a little, what I did was I folded the triangular part over and just cut the triangle section off to make room for it. So you can see if I had left it open, and then the triangle would have come out here. But I wanted to do something a little different, so I just added, you stay there, added a Velcro tab. Now on this, what I had a misjudgment. I had originally put the Velcro tabs here, thinking I could do that and then maybe use this as a little tuck spot, but it didn't look right. This was too loose. So I started to remove it and of course removed the paper, but I fixed that. We know that everything in a journal is fixable, so I added this adorable little pansy image. But what I didn't do was on this side, I did not remove the other half, I don't even know if you can see it, of the Velcro dot because I didn't want to rip the sheet music. So, and then I just moved the dots. I got another set of dots out and moved them closer to the edge. On this side, I did another belly band and just did a little collage, some lace. I did add this is coffee filter ruffle. Then I did a tag and just did a little simple collage, some doily and a couple images, some little crocheted lace here that I dyed, and a tab. Tuck that inside. This is a beautiful, beautiful kit, and if this is your first time seeing it, you really need to go over to Sam Poole Designs on Etsy and check out her Graceful Birds 1 and 2 if you are into birds, because this just makes, I've seen, Sam's done some multiple videos using the Graceful Birds, so definitely go to her YouTube and check out what she's done with it. Dody has used the Graceful Birds. I mean, just gorgeous, gorgeous. So many things you can do with this kit. So anyway, I digress. This image I just cut out and put some packing paper, brown paper behind it, and used it as a tuck spot, and I added these two little brass bees that I had. And then just added a couple, the background and the image on top, and some of the lace trim I used in other spots. I used that on the spine, and lace tab. Tuck that right in there. And on this pocket, this is from her French cottage that I remember. I actually remembered something. That's from her French cottage. A piece of antique paper that I stamped, and some of the green dyed fabric. Then I made a tag with some crepe paper ruffle. That is nothing I did. I purchased that from a seller on Etsy. Put that in there. And then this tag's in the kit, and I just added some more of that dotted Swiss netting and just tied it so it looked like a little bow. And then this cute little ruffly looking trim I added on this edge. On this side, this is some more from French Cottage, and I added a journaling card. All I did here was I added some vintage lace scrap and a label. Tuck that up. And then down here what I did was this, this had more to it. There was just some of this netting was above it, and I cut that off. And then I cut the length into 2 pieces and actually glued the dots so they would stick together as one piece, so that I had kind of a double ruffle going on. And then I took that netting that I cut off up here and just kind of scrunched that up and added my little stained bow. And I just thought that turned out really cute. And then on this page, what I did, I made a tuck spot out of this image, used some more of that ruffly, sequiny kind of lace that I used, on this edge, on the top and the bottom, and around the oval of this beautiful young lady, I took some pearl chain. It's really itty bitty. The size is like 2 millimeters, so it's very tiny, tiny, tiny pearls. And I just wanted to add a little extra to that image. And then I made this journaling card. I left this as a pocket. I was going to collage, and then I started to lay that down, and I thought, no, let's make a pocket out of it. And then I added this image as a journaling card inside the little pocket, and did some decorative paper on the back and some sheet music scrap. This, I believe, this is so pretty. I love this. I think this is from the Neutral Edit kit that she came out with recently. The last 2 pages. Nope, next to the last 2 pages. Another one of the pockets from the way the book page was folded. So I tucked a tag inside there. Again, some more of the dotted Swiss netting. And tuck that behind. I did add some lace on the edge, green lace. Added some of that like crocheted green lace here, and some dyed scrim, and then a little bow. And then this image. And then over here, this was a vintage lace scrap I had, and it was around something that was kind of curved, but instead of straightening it, I left it with that slight curve in it. I liked it, so. And then I threaded through with it with some of my dyed seam binding. That's just 1/4-inch seam binding. It was white, and I dyed it. And same here, I just dyed this into a neutral color, scrunched it up. I've got some of these little flowers, attached that on top, and then this was just a couple scraps of the, I don't know if you can, the lace that's around the edge on the front. That's what they look like. They're just little strips. So this was cut off of wherever I put it, someplace, and I just tucked that under all of that before I put the flower down. And then I've got some white applique up here at the top. I just made a simple tag, added a tab, and tucked that inside, and I just think that's a really pretty page. And I just love this. Okay, now last page. More swans. Did I tell you I love swans? Yes, I love swans. This was a larger image that I just cut around and made like a corner pocket out of it, and this is an old stamped piece of vintage paper, again, in my stash box. And then use this tag, seam binding. Now this is one that I did not dye, it came that way. Tuck that inside, and then journaling card. And on the back I used, I think this is from the French Bureau, I think, and some antique French book page, and tuck that inside. Over here, this is a window envelope that I cut down a bit, and I made a side pocket. Let's pull this out. So I just did a little side pocket with a tab and a grommet. I can never remember the names of these, so I may be calling them wrong. If I am, I apologize. And then I just wanted to do a little dangle, so I used a bulb pin, and I had this little bronzy colored dangly ball, and this was actually off of a pair of earrings, and I just liked the fact that it had the little green flower and a little bee in it, and I tucked a ribbon behind that too. So that tucks in the side pocket. I did decoupage around the window. Decoupage. I collaged. I didn't decoupage. I collaged around the window. I love to collage around the window envelopes. Some more of that ruffled crepe paper. And then this is actually a flip up. So there is room for journaling here. Let me get that all on the screen. And then here is room to add picture, add a pocket, add some more writing paper, whatever somebody would like to do. And some faux tape up there and down here. Some here. And then, I don't know, let me take this out a second, it's bugging me. I don't know if this will show on this side. Maybe you can see that it is really more purpley than pink. So I just wanted to point that out. There we go. And then we're here at the back. So that is my Sam Poole Design Team journal, and I love the way it turned out. I was so happy to play with swans. I hope that you all are well. I forgot to ask you in the beginning, are everybody okay? I hope so. We're doing good. Again, thank you if you stayed till the end. Thank you so very much. Sending all of you some love and hugs, and I hope you're happy. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.